It's not
Hi,
recording,
everyone.
Celine.
Okay.
Ah,
Is it recording now? Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm Celine Vadam, the founder of the Hospitality Think Tank, and I'm here today with my fellow members to talk about wellness and the wellness touch points in hospitality and how it relates to sustainability. And with me, I have Hilton, Maria Pia, and Brandy. Do you want to say a few words to introduce yourselves? And maybe introduce yourself and actually what is your definition of wellness? How do you see wellness in hospitality?
Hilton, you go
who's going
first.
Me. Okay. Only male on the call, so I'll go first. But normally it should be the ladies first, yeah? Okay,
for this
so hi everybody. My name is Hilton. I am the currently general manager of Garia in Mugan Chai in the north of Vietnam, which is in a location behind me, exactly the same. I work for the Banyan Group. We have about 100 properties around the world. And one of the key elements of our company, and one of the reasons I'm very happy to work with the Banyan Group, is about sustainability and what we call well-being or wellness. I'm personally very passionate about wellness. My side pushes more to what I like to call environmental wellness. But within the hospitality industry, there are many, many different types of wellnesses, which we will discuss later. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilton. I can go next, Brandy. Okay. So hi, everybody. My name is Maria Pia Intini. Until a week ago, I was with Citizen M Hotels as Development and Investment Director for Europe. And I'm really curious eager to learn together with you today, because I think I have a very distorted idea of what wellness is. I think it's all about spas and yoga retreats. So I have this awfully wrong perception that I don't know enough about it, but I'm curious to know more about what the other the other angles, the other the aspects of it. So looking forward to warm up a little bit more on the topic. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Brandy. I'm originally an attorney, and my background is hotel real estate and development. I, like Maria P., I'm also probably a little bit of a newbie to the wellness space, and I'm interested also in learning and how we can kind of expand beyond some of the, I would say again, the fitness and spa. But it's interesting because I was thinking a bit about what wellness means to me, and when I've come back from my own travels and when I've felt that feeling of well-being and what it's come from. And some of it's, I always think about frictionless travel and sort of frictionless experiences as well, and just kind of that anticipation of consumer needs when one's in the hotel space. But I'm looking forward to participating in today's call.
Great. Well, maybe I should introduce myself because I never do. I assume people know me. I don't know. But I'm Celine Vadam. I'm the founder of WeThink, a consultancy working on concepts and experiences in hospitality with a wellness angle. As part of the projects I work on, I work from the initial and feasibility and concept development stages of a project, strategic advisory for brands. And I'm also working with the Blue Zones on creating wellness experiences and wellness retreats. So I'm pretty much involved in wellness in very different angles. So not really like the spa and fitness. And actually, sometimes it bothers me a bit when I have projects or clients asking for me to just do the spa, because I like to have really this holistic view of what the wellness means for the property and not just the spa. And and it's interesting to see the different, we're talking about touch point, but the touch points are not just once the property is open, but also like throughout throughout the life cycle of the property. And more I actually get requests from development company or investors who are at the initial stages of the project and asking how they can, when building the property, have this like wellness mindset, so they can set up the property in a to make it like a food, wellness, and lifestyle environment. And so it's great to see that people now, like actually probably more outside of hospitality rather than inside hospitality, because inside hospitality, I think there's still this idea that wellness equals spa, but outside and also from a customer's perspective, there's more and more awareness that wellness is actually not just the spa, but all the different the sleep and movement and the social aspects, and all these things is actually creating your wellness experience.
I think maybe if I can carry on a little bit from there, Celine, you mentioned, and I think Marie-Pierre also mentioned it earlier, that people just consider the spa to be wellness in a hotel, but in reality, that could be the beginning point. Most hotels today do accept having a spa. It's almost a given. So most properties around the world do have a spa. And yes, they jump on the bandwagon and say, we're a wellness resort because we have a spa. But the thing is to break down the barriers and to break down the borders and take that a lot further. You know, it's not just about having a massage, because from the spa now, we also see a lot of fitness. So, and from the fitness, we also see a lot of mindfulness in terms of the yoga. In the old days, it was just a gym in the spa with massage. Now you have yoga studios, we do sound healing, we do sound meditation, we do relaxation, we do walking. So those actually all generally come from within the spa. And so you can really expand the spa out and do many other things. I mean, when I started my career back as a spa director many years ago, I remember as the spa director, I was sitting with the chef and talking about, you know, nutrition and types of different things that we can do. It really maybe wasn't on the level that it is today, but again, it stemmed from the person being in charge of the spa to try and develop all these wellness activities. So yes, Celine is 100% correct. People try to get that wellness feeling coming in from the construction, conception, and that point as well. But if you already have a property and you have a spa, you can expand out and do a lot of different activities from within the spa that will definitely relate to a lot of wellness on your property. Speaking from experience, so it is possible, and it's definitely not that complicated.
And it's funny, you know, because actually when you, like, for certain properties, the spa is probably the less wellness, you know, depending on your definition of wellness. Like when you look at the, you know, like the pillars for like a healthy life, having a facial is probably really down on the list, and up on the list would be like eating well, moving well, sleeping well. So I think that there's actually like over like, and these are like three things that are common to, and that are at the core of hospitality. Like hospitality is having a good bed and providing a good night's sleep to people, and going back to this core service and making, like, right now you see like a lot of companies insisting on, when you come to my hotel, you're going to have a good night's sleeps. We have this pillow bar where you can choose whatever type and form and fabrics of pillow you want, and you have these pillow sprays that we give you so you can have a good night's sleep, and all like this sleep sanctuary we had at Four Seasons. So many different things that are around sleep, and also like a lot of hotel company working on healthy food and how to bring more like healthier food options within their menus, improving the gym and the gym quality. And we've seen like companies like Equinox, who started as gym clubs, going into hospitality and building their offering around this fitness center. So it's funny that, yeah, hospitality associates wellness with the spa, whereas for a long time the spa was associated more with beauty and like a facial, like looking younger by doing the facials and everything. And I guess the real like wellness thing around about the spa itself and the services would be the massages, because that goes with mindfulness and relaxation and downshifting. So yeah, it's just like a little parenthesis. Like, I guess.
Have you seen, Celine, based on what you just said, have you
Yeah.
seen new professions being added to, traditional, and of course also Hilton is a GM, new professions being added in the hotel space? You know what I mean? Like we talk about
Definitely.
chefs or sleep experts or training in a different way. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
Actually, it's quite interesting you should mention that. I was having a conversation today with some people, and there's a couple of properties now that don't have executive chefs anymore. They have culinary experts, or they really play on that word. And the executive chef is almost old school. It's like, you're an executive chef. And it's like, I'm a culinary expert. Same, but it really sounds very good. And, I'm a holistic healer, or I'm a yoga instructor. I'm a general manager, or I'm a well-being manager, or I'm a spa manager, or a holistic well-being manager. So I think maybe the positions are still the same, but the titles are definitely changing. And then actually, no, the positions are not the same, because there's more responsibility if it is yielded towards more wellness, which it is. It definitely is. Yeah. So a lot of the big companies are now spending a lot of time and money into promoting like exactly what Celine was talking about, the sleeping experience, but it's on every level. And it's obviously to improve the offering of the property, but it's also a fashion. People want to be healthier. Post COVID, we've all spoken about this, so it really has shone the light on, why can't we use our platform to drive more wellness and drive more business, make healthier and happier people, and at the same time our teams, which is something else we can touch on afterwards, and then and at the same time make money. So it is definitely a different ball game, same ball game, but I think the rules have varied a little bit along the way. We're still selling, like we say in the hospitality industry, heads on beds, but that's not very sexy or romantic. But it's how we build it up and what we put around that, and what we offer in our property. But at the end of the day, people come to sleep at your property. Yeah.
And I think it also goes with an evolution of the industry. Like, like we started with heads on bed, like Hilton was saying, and the focus was really in the bedrooms. Like, and like when you were looking at new developments, you were comparing the square meters of your bedroom compared to the square meters of your competitor, and the facilities of your bedroom, and that's where you were driving your main revenues. Then we started to look at the F&B, like how can we have a restaurant that's profitable and not just like a tick box with these boring and empty restaurants that we are having just for the sake of having it, so we can have the number of stars that we want to justify our ADR. So now we have much cooler, like very successful restaurants within hotels. And I think now that the next thing is the spa. And for a long time, and still now, the spa has been seen as this thing that we need to have. We need to have a pool, we need to have a gym, we need to have a spa. And so some like a money money loser. Like we have that, but we know it's not making money. But actually, when you really look into it, it's not true, because a lot of the revenues that should go into the spa departments are not going into the spa departments, because we don't count all the people who use the spa and the gym, they are not counted, and we don't make them pay like a daily fee. Well, in certain properties, yes, but that's different. But in general, we're not making them pay a daily fee, so we don't know like actually how much revenue would these people bring to the spa department if we were to charge them. It's all like blended within the room revenue. But the cost of running these facilities is impaired to the spa department. So of course, when you look at the numbers, the spa department's profitability sometimes doesn't look really good because you have all these costs and you only have the revenues from the treatments and the retail. Sometimes memberships, if you have like some membership with your gym or your spa, but there's a big chunk of revenues that you don't collect, and that gives also a false idea. So I think that's also something that will be adjusted, and we will see like a new way of making like hotel
Changing what the
P&Ls.
ADR, right? Like doing a split and allocation within the ADR to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we did a study in the past, in the company I was working for, to understand how much, in a more scientific way, how much of our ADR was driven by the fact that, for example, we had a swimming pool. We don't usually have swimming pool. I mean, we don't have swimming pools. Cincinnati doesn't have swimming pools in Europe, but there are some hotels with swimming pools in the US, and that's just because that's what the market is requiring in that category space. And so for us, was always like being owners. It was always a question of, okay, we build this extra thing, we spend this extra money. What is the impact on the ADR? And I remember there was like, we came to the conclusion that there was a 10% of ADR increase driven by the presence of the swimming pool. As we know, certain things are not, they're there, you might use them, you might not use them, but the simple fact that it's there, people are willing to pay an extra, and we quantify that extra as an additional 10%. Of course, it's not set in stone, but that came from some research we did. However, there was an internal, we didn't have like a specific whatever swimming pool department. So clearly there was just, it was in the ADR, but I know what you're saying, in a hotel which has a much more structured, the P&L, where there are other departments as well, and they are meaningful. There should be that extra location, which is not just the treatments indeed and the members for the gym. But yeah, how much you can increase the ADR because of having that facility.
Well, I think one thing that you can think about is exactly everything you said I agree to, but by using that swimming pool for an additional service, being it water yoga, being it something else, there is additional revenue. So even if in your total calculation on ROI or average spend per guest or whatever it might be, you say, okay, we have a swimming pool, so let's just say 10%. Some people use it, some people won't use it. So it's not a loss, but it looks nice on the brochure. It will drive some business. So we, at the end of the day, we're using it as a selling point. But then you go ahead and you use it for aqua yoga, you use it for floating meditation, and you charge for that. So now it becomes a different ball game. So you have this mindset of saying, we have a pool, it's a bit of a loss, but it's nice and it looks good. But now, due to the wellness concept and the wellness drive, we can actually drive additional revenue in a place that's already paying for itself and getting extra revenue on a P&L, give it to the spa, give it to the recreation, wherever, however. So those are definitely elements that are growing a lot more within the industry. And sorry, just before you answer, jumping back to the room size and the restaurant that Celine mentioned. Yes, everyone considers the bigger room the more expensive, but now it's more about the amenities in the room and the lighting and the sound and the comfort of the mattress. Or now we have well-being rooms with equipment in and special TVs and special sound and different things. So we're selling the smaller room, if you would want, but with so many more amenities related to wellness or to psychology or relaxation, and we can drive more revenue. And one other thing that you also mentioned about the restaurant, which is really interesting, in the old days, the classic model was we're going to sell expensive food. We're going to sell imported food. We're going to sell imported wines and champagnes. And that's how we drive F&B business. It's a given. How many guests can you get to buy a nice expensive bottle of wine? That's your KPI. That is how you judge. Nowadays, we sell people plant-based food for more than that bottle of wine, and they thank us for it and they pay it for us. So actually, it's a really interesting way of looking at it. If you do it correctly, you can just go and pick up some leaves and sell them for the same price that you could sell an expensive bottle of wine. And hey, it's a win-win because we're really promoting the wellness and, you know, in terms of, you know, plant-based food and everything like that. So we're having healthy guests. But at the end of the day, our costs are lower and our revenues are higher. So, you know, when people get very scared about wellness and they go, ooh, the spa and everything, there are many, many, many touch points out there that don't take a lot to do, but you can actually do very well. And not considering that all of this on a brochure looks absolutely amazing and driving more people towards your property, you know, storytelling, and getting more people in. And we're seeing more and more of that around the world. And it's not just the big brands. It's, you know, it's the others copying the big brands maybe. But there's a lot of it going on around the world. And again, from your perspective, but both of you were involved in investment in properties, this is something that wasn't actually ever considered in terms of investment. It was very a basic ABC. But if you look at it this way now, if you change the restaurant or you change that, you know, the investment level could actually be different.
I have a question actually connected to what you were saying before. So let's say that you have a swimming pool indeed, and that's not just, you want to use it not just for the brochure or to increase a little your ADR, but you want to create additional services with it. And then you mentioned, oh, maybe you can use for meditation, for whatever other activities that you charge for. Question I have, a bit provoking, is what about the other customers who are there enjoying the space, but eventually cannot access the swimming pool in that time because there is a paid lesson for? Wouldn't that be bad after all? You know, I think it's a very slippery slope the moment you start doing that.
Generally, what we do from my experience is the off times is the times where we would actually do the wellness. So obviously, you know, when the peak times at the pool, then you wouldn't do something like that. But yes, it's a game you have to play. You have to manage your time. The last property I was managing had hot springs, and it's beautiful, relaxing hot springs, and people come in, they lie in the pools, and then we started doing this Sunday morning hot spring meditation. And then people would wake up early and come jump around with their children and screaming in the hot springs. So you really got the two worlds next to each other. So yes, you're 100% right. You have to juggle it and you have to man it. But why can't you manage it in such a way? Again, it's the same with restaurants where you have that romantic candlelight dinner atmosphere, and next to it you have a family who drinking and having a birthday party. At the end of the day, it's exactly the same thing. So, you know, you have to just find a way of managing it. But yes, a swimming pool is generally quite a lively area, but it depends how the property is designed. Again, when you're in a conception stage and you're developing your concept, maybe that's a time to go, oh, you know, can we make the pool in an L, and this side will be the more private side with more greenery around it, and then that will be the more public side, for example.
And to add to what Hilton was saying, it's also opening the space to external guests. So not only, and so that gives also that also expand the pool of users, and you can still have your pool, for example, because we are all like your gym as part of the ADR, and then sell memberships or sell like day passes or access to external guests. So that's also another way to get additional revenue. And as per what Hilton was saying, like it also helps in the low usage periods, because you can have locals coming during the day, which in general hotel guests, we are not depending on where your hotel is. But in general, hotel guests are not in the hotel during the day, but you have locals that can come and fill the space. So depending on your concept for the wellness and how you manage your space, you can really make the most of it. And that's, like going back to your questions about are they like new positions created into the hotel? I think that also increases, as Hilton was saying, the responsibilities and the role of a spa director to like a wellness director, and adding also like different people to manage. So if you have the spa and you only manage the therapist, now you have yoga and meditation. So now you're also managing additional external people. Mostly external people to that, and you have to also manage different type of experiences that require also different types of expertise than what you are used to with your treatments, for example. So it's also include increasing responsibility, and also I think an increasing need for knowledge and education.
Correct.
For like both the spa director, but you were mentioning the chefs. Like when I was at Four Seasons, I worked on healthy food strategy, and how to train chefs to work with the spa and to also like know what healthy food means. And that's a very, very current topic, because with all the different dietary options, like let alone the wellness, like just speaking of like dietary expectations from guests, and then healthy food, and what is your definition of healthy food? And there are lots of people who would have different opinion about what it means. So I think that it's important to educate and give the tools to everybody at the property to understand, what is wellness and what is the position of the property towards wellness. What does it mean to the property? Because for some properties, it's going to be more on the hardcore side. Other properties would be more on the mindfulness side. Other properties would be more on the fitness side, others on the beauty side. So there are so many different angles that you can take, and that's also your opportunity to differentiate from your competitors. You don't have to all offer yoga classes and Swedish massage or whatever, like you can all create your own, like, I think the pillars of health and wellness are the same everywhere, but it's universal pillars, I would say, but the way you interpret it and incorporate it within your property, like your version, you mentioned Taylor Swift earlier, so it's wellness, like Taylor's version, whoever's version. And the way you interpret that would really help you like differentiate yourself from your competitors, attract people internal and external, and really also add to your to the identity of your property.
Correct.
I have to say, though, all the things you're saying, Selena, are amazing. However, I hear also lots of pressure when it comes to operational costs. So, because the moment you have more people, you hire more people with, or anyway, not more, but people with additional knowledge and expertise, fair enough, you need to pay them more. And that's exactly in a moment in time when we've been talking for a while, right, about operational costs, payroll costs having a major impact on the feasibility, on the bottom line of hotels. So does he have to, do we expect as a consequence that ADR rates increase, and that, by having these things,
I think it's definitely it's a balance. You obviously in our business we always have to balance out expenses and expenditures, revenues and expenditures. I think what Celine was mentioning earlier is not so much hiring more people, but I think the skill set of the people who are in place today need to be further developed in the kitchen, in the well-being of the staff. But yes, you're 100% right. You come with an extra pip on your shoulder, we need to pay you a little bit more money. But then again, theoretically, we could be charging you more money for that service. So,
Very
you know, it's give and take, but you're 100% correct. How far can you go to maintain your minimum expenses to maintain your profitability? And that is definitely another area that has to be, it's a very good point. I mean, I'm sure Selena and I can sit here for hours telling you, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do that, and you can do this, and you can do that. But yeah, suddenly it's an additional 12% of, you know, in the top, in the middle, and it shows at the bottom. So yeah, you have to be mindful about that. Definitely.
But on the other hand, it's also a way to give people career progression, because in these types of roles, you get quickly very limited in terms of career growth. So I think like it's also like a win-win, like because the salary will have to increase at some point with people staying longer. So why not also like justifying the salary increase with also more education and more responsibilities and more skills and knowledge. So I guess you can build that, and it can be also a way to retain employees, which is something which is a challenge today in the hospitality industry. Like, how do you attract people and give them a reason to come and to stay? And I think that gaining and learning and having additional skills along the way is not the reason, but it can be like at least one tool that hotels can use to keep their staff and attract talents.
I think along those lines. So sorry, go ahead.
Please go ahead.
I think along those lines, when you start talking about staff or associates or stars, whatever, different companies have different names. The happiness index, something we all learn from Bhutan, is that the more we do in terms of wellness, happiness is a key element of wellness and development and growth. So there's also another whole element of wellness is the team. Educating the team about eating correctly, educating the team to do exercise, educating the team to be more happy and work cohesively together is another touch point within hospitality that doesn't necessarily cost a lot of extra money, but it can definitely be a defining factor on keeping people in your company, getting people to grow. And we're seeing more and more of that around the world as well. You know, HR managers, we were talking about, you know, skill sets, but now HR managers or HR directors need to know a little bit more about wellness, about happiness, about, you know, it's not about reach your KPI, you get your bonus, you come to work at this time, you leave, and we pay you that much. Now it's about what activities can we organize? What CSR activities can we do? Are we doing some SDG this month? You know, there's 17, we've got 12 months. Are we going to do something for Ladies' Day? Are we going to do something? Are we going to plant trees? And all of this is also under the umbrella of wellness, and it's about the team. So that's another touch point that's very, very important, and it plays a major role on the operation. And it's not just in hospitality. I mean, today we're talking about hospitality, but that now, I mean, the likes of Google is a perfect example of how they just turned around this happiness and giving people activities and gyms and spas and on their campuses, and to give people that, you know, that positivity and that relaxation and what's the word I'm looking for? Development and open-mindedness to you know, and it works. It definitely works.
And do you see this shift towards wellness at any category level, or is mostly for, you know, luxury properties?
It should be everywhere. It all depends on the management or the management company or the general manager or the HR. I mean, for me, it's a given and it should be everywhere. But yes, of course, you know, like going back to my example, some people would like a plant-based meal and some people would like a steak and a bottle of wine. You know, it depends on the drivers behind it. But I think we all are definitely conscious that wellness and well-being is an important part of our lives. And it can be a USB, and it can definitely help us drive more revenue, more retention, and make everyone healthier and happier. So for me, it's a given. But even though I'm so passionate about it and I try to do it with my team, I actually got 2 properties to run. One property, wellness is right up there. The other property, I'm trying to get blood out of a stone, as passionate as I am. So it's not that easy all the time. Definitely not.
And I think there's a big opportunities because right now it's more driven by the like luxury or like the high spectrum of the hospitality. But I think especially with the development of all these touchless wellness devices that don't require a lot of staff to run. I think that there's so much opportunities actually like in the lower and middle scale of hospitality to have more wellness and to also offer wellness experiences that they were not offering before, and to really make wellness accessible to a wider range of people.
Nice. Thank you.
You always need to be very careful, though. I mean, got to be the devil's advocate here. Is how far do you go? It's very easy to stand here or to sit here and say, "Oh, do this, do that, do that. It's not expensive. Do this, and go use the pool and everything." But there's also the element of there is a certain percentage of the population that are not interested.
Yep.
They want to go and lie at the pool. They don't want to relax, and they want to jump around and go crazy on the slide. They're not interested in plant-based food. They want to have other food. And if you go too far, too deep, too quickly, you can actually turn off a certain demographic or a large percentage of the people that are coming to your property. Correct. So again, we can sit here for hours and say, do this, do that, do that. It's very easy. It's very easy. And yes, it's a trend. And yes, it's definitely working. The evidence is out there. But you have to be careful. When the big brands do this, most of the big brands, they categorize. So we have 4 different brands. So this brand will be our wellness brand. And the others will still be, we'll have a few touch points, but this will be our brand. But when you're talking about the smaller property and private properties, do it or don't we do it? How do we go? So, I'm always one to say that offer something and have that element. It's like you look at your menu, you have your plant-based, but you still have everything else. So if you just don't go too hardcore, yoga's there for everybody, but we don't have a gong going off at 3 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's got to get out of their rooms and go and meditate for a half an hour. It's like, I'm sure there are many people out there. It's like, I'm not going there on a holiday. That's not considered a holiday.
or if you do, just go full on and embrace being that kind of property and not being for everybody. I think that's a lot of time the hospitality industry wants to be everything for everyone. And I think that as we are going more into like stronger concepts and telling stronger stories, we need to be more comfortable in saying, I'm not for everybody, but that's okay because I have enough people who connect with my concept to make it work. And maybe like, and I think that people now are also more versatile than before. Before you had your, like your regular, I don't know, like a Marriott frequent traveler who was going to every single Marriott property around the world and just wanted to go to that kind of property. But now you have the traveler who wants to have that kind of experience in that city, and that's like that will be like in a very, I don't know, in Berlin, like very like hardcore party mood in Berlin, and then like a very like deep holistic spiritual journey in Bali, and have be very like historical and heart mindset in Rome. And so I think that it's okay to not be everything for everyone, because people now I think are more adaptable and more different every time they do a trip. I think there are fundamentals that they still want to have everywhere, like having a good bed where you can sleep well is important, a clean room, having fresh and good food. I think having a gym is now like something more important, and people are using it more than before. But then like people want change, and we're really like going more away from this very standardized way of thinking, and with that comes the fact that you will not be everybody's cup of tea.
I'll give you a very good example. You were talking about the gym that I've seen over the years. The gyms were generally in the basement. They were converted parking lots. We got to have one because we want that star. Well, Techno Gym's a bit expensive. We can use another brand. And gyms were always somewhere in the building, you know. But now we're seeing gyms where the bars are, the terraces with the beautiful views over the cities or the beaches or the mountains, because, more and more people are doing exercise. So there's definitely a paradigm shift in, we can have the restaurant downstairs because it's just breakfast, and we can have people running upstairs looking over the city. And 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that was unthought of. It would definitely be the opposite way around. So, yeah, there are things that are happening, just kind of evolutionary, with people not really promoting it per se, but we are seeing examples of that often.
Thank you. Lots of, I have to say, compared to where I started, I have widened my massively my ideas of what wellness is. Indeed, as one of those, it's all about the spa, and the next level will be the yoga retreat. That's all I thought about. But in reality, we're talking about the essentials of hospitality. So good night's sleep, good soundproof rooms, and where you can really relax and recharge and all these beautiful things. But it's also about eating well, maintaining a rhythm, exercising. So all the things that effectively you do, of course, if you are a certain type of person, that you do in your everyday life, that you want to maintain when you go traveling. Making sure that the hotel allows you to, the resort, whatever the type of accommodation we're talking about, that allows you to maintain those healthy habits. The real idea of home away from home, and not just a nice slogan.
And I would add to that one thing we haven't specifically talked about is wellness for corporate people. People coming on business trips, or with business meetings or conferences, because now you see more and more first the food served for these occasions being more healthy, and also having this mindfulness breaks, so movement breaks during conferences. And also for business travelers, I think there's also there a big opportunity, and especially again, bringing back these touchless wellness devices that can help you calm down, or this meditation on TV, or there are so many things that you can add also to your room or to your experience that can target business travelers and help them recover quickly from jet lag, or recover from a full day of meetings, or to make them feel more refreshed and productive for their next day of work.
I was gonna sort of following up on that too. I was gonna ask, how are you seeing, beyond wellness and sort of focus on the self? There's been sort of increased focus on kind of mental health and sort of, human connections and kind of anxiety and whatnot. Are we seeing any hospitality trends kind of emerging in that? Because I know some of the class and whatnot are sort of very individually focused, but kind of along with the trends on experiential travel and sort of meeting people. Are we seeing any sort of trends in the hospitality wellness space?
If I can answer that one, I think right in the beginning, Celine mentioned the retreats that she's doing with Blue Zone, and retreats for me is actually a new way of packaging hotels, because they're becoming very popular, and you can have a couple of people come in together, or you can do one-on-ones, and you can tailor it. So you can have a mental well-being person come in and do a 5-day course, like Celine said she was doing in some places, specifically for 10 people. The restaurant is still there, the pool is still there, the beds are still there, maybe a nice amenity, maybe a different smell, maybe a nice touch point from the retreat leader, but you're getting a group of people to come in to do something very specific. And in the mindfulness and what you were asking about, we're seeing more and more and more of that. So you don't necessarily per se have to have a spa director who can do sound healing and he's a nutrition expert, da 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 da. You bring in a group of people who actually pay for the room, and bring in people who pay for the room, and they charge over and the top, so they're making money, you making money. Or okay, there's different ways of doing it, giving the retreat organizers free rooms and blah 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 blah. There's many ways you can do it, but you actually just, if you look at it from a hospitality perspective, it's just another TA, but it's a retreat leader. So it's ABC Detox who's coming in for 10 days, and you're giving them a special rate, exactly like you would a travel agent. But you're really getting that wellness element into your property. It's not per se the whole property, it's only these specific people. And you can tailor it to whatever you want. You can do fasting, you can do meditation, you can do mindfulness, you can do detox, digital detox, and some of the things I'm sure Celine can add to that. So we're seeing a lot of that. So you don't have to change the walls, you don't have to change the parking, you just bring in different people. So that for me, I think is a very good way of driving wellness awareness into your property, and you don't need to be an expert. You're just doing hospitality.
And I think that like wellness implementation in hotels is shifting from like a Eastern approach, like of being something very like solitary and silence and which is actually not like all Eastern, like like this specific you're here on your own and within yourself, and to a more like social approach to it. And you have these wellness social clubs popping in cities where you have like a bunch of people coming on a Sunday morning doing ice bath and having like non-alcoholic cocktails. And so like again, depending on your definition of wellness for your property, you can also include all these social aspects. And as Houston was saying, like you have the retreats option, but you can also have like a social, I don't know, nails day where you have like a bunch of afternoon tea for ladies with facial. You have a lot of different options that you can put together, and interesting experiences and packages where you can use wellness as an attraction point for guests or internal or external to your property, and also using it to cross-sell like other things within your hotel. F&B is a very good combination. Rooms of course as well, if you want people to stay longer. But you can really create these experiences and put together these different departments of the hotel. And that's where communication within the departments, employees knowing also, not working in silos and knowing what everybody is kind of doing and understanding each other to be able to build things together. And now, like in certain property, you have positions like head of experiences, or to actually put these things together and create these experiences for guests.
Anantara is amazing with that. They have spice experts, and in the old days it was just a mixologist, but now they have all these strange titles and these people who are experts in all different things on the property. It's very, very cool. Yeah.
Like these wellness concierge who also like tell you where to go for a run, or to go like swimming or whatever, or like help build you your program for during your stay. So there are so many options. I even saw like one thing, I think it's in LA, there's a hotel where they have a water sommelier. So where you can try different types of water, like with different benefits, different texture of bubbles, and very fascinating.
Just have to think out of the box, be creative, let go, don't follow the status quo.
Mhm.
But when you're running your own business and you've got a bottom line, not so
Twice
easy.
Well, great. Thank you. I think, you know, like I feel like this is like the first part of more discussions around these topics, because there will probably there's more to say. You know, I keep bringing back the book, but we did such a great job on this book. But you know, we did a chapter on the critical questions is sustainability and hospitality on from wellness to well-being, and with like a table with different touch points and examples, and this sustainable well-being wheel and things like that. So there's also some good good content in there for people who want to know more. So yeah. Well, thank you all for being on that call. That was very
Thank you.
insightful. And yeah, if anybody has question, you can message us or like comments on the video link comment section thing. And yeah, we'll see you next time in a month for a new hospitality think tank coffee break. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye all.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.
Jocelyn, bye-bye.